them all in one day because I'm wearing the same outfit.
Well, I laughed that we were talking about imposter syndrome today, and I was logging on to Instagram, and I was like, oh my gosh, Sue has this nice bookcase, and I'm in my bedroom with a curtain, and there's no natural light. And I was like, this is what imposter syndrome is. I can tell people about it. It's about when we think we're not good enough because we don't have a nice bookcase like Sue's.
So I have a lovely bookcase, but in front of me, the mess on the ground is just ridiculous. I mean, I think I'm like everybody else. We've been living in our homes for 6 months, right? And I feel like, you know, you make little piles here, you make little piles there. And, you know, we have all the things packed up for the rally. And so we have like corners of our house with boxes. And, oh, I love this. Jennifer's saying that she just discovered the Zoom filter for touching up images. Jennifer's going to tell us about the Zoom filter for touching up images. So we have a lot of people here who I'm hoping will join us at the rally because Janet Sanchez is here right now and Jennifer Barnhill. I hope you all show up for the rally. And Chris, I hope you show up too because you've been part of our community since the beginning.
Yes, that would be so fun. It's Tuesday night, right?
You and I were talking about like, you know, should I make the jump? Should I start this? Should I, you know?
I know. I remember we were in a hotel lobby years ago and I was working corporate and you were working corporate and we were like, should we do it? Should we do it? And then I realized that I started the business 17 years ago because I remember I was pregnant with my 17-year-old. So it's like a really easy way to keep track of how far and long and what a long journey we've been and how long we've known each other.
I know. And it's impossible because, I mean, when we're both like 27, it's impossible to think that we've known each other for 17 years.
I know.
That's crazy.
It is.
But I was really, really excited to, so someone asked us to share more information about the rally. So we will share more at the end. And I hope that what you will do is go and check out our Facebook page at NMS Network. And then, you know, there's an event started there. And so just click interested or click attend and you'll get all the information there. So thank you for asking. But I was really excited to read your article about imposter syndrome because I think that that is something we all face. And the dirty secret is that we all face it, but nobody wants to talk about it because then you're almost afraid that if you talk about it, you become too vulnerable, right?
Yes. It's funny because so the imposter syndrome is like when we doubt our accomplishments. If we do something good, we say it was lucky, or we just chalk everything up to like, we're this like secret fraud. Like we were successful, but it was fraudulent. And it's so funny because in the beginning of my life coaching, of course, I was an imposter myself. So I'm sitting in my office and I'm like, oh, I have this nice office and people are paying me by the hour to come in and help them with their military spouse career. And like, I don't know if I could really help them. And what if I fail? And like all those little gremlin voices were in my head, but I thought they were only in my head. And then what was so funny was that every single military spouse that came and sat on my sofa or over the phone or any type of coaching would literally on like the third coaching session act like they were revealing this big, deep, dark secret and say, oh, I have to tell you something. I know that I got my undergrad degree and blah, 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 but like I just skimmed through it. Or I know I started this job and like, I know I'm making all this money selling like Christmas tree ornaments, but like, I think I'm just lucky this 1 year. Or like, I'm an engineer, but I just squeezed through school and now my company wants me to actually build a bridge and I have no idea what I'm doing. And like, don't tell anyone. And it was like, everybody was telling me that they had this imposter syndrome, but everybody thought they were the only one that had the voice in their head that said that they were not enough. So I was like, wow, I think this is a real thing. Cause like every single person is admitting that they have it. And everybody, I would say, oh, my other clients say this too. And they would be just this like huge relief. Like, wait, I'm not the only person that ever felt inadequate. Right. And it was kind of a learning process for me because I had it, but I didn't know everybody had it.
And the crazy thing is not only do our peers have it, but people we look up to who are our mentors. Because I think of someone who I reach out to for advice, and it's funny because she just posted on her Facebook page that, you know, she has been an SES in the government and she's a senior fellow and she's still amazed every time someone, one, asks her for advice and two, she's able to give it. And to me, I think that's insane because I just look at her and I'm like, oh my gosh, to have accomplished so much, she's young. And she's just like, I just don't feel like that person. And it's funny because the way we see ourselves and the way other people see us is so different.
I had a Marine general, a female Marine general with 8 kids. tell me that she had the imposter syndrome. And I was like, what? You? And the thing is, I don't think I put this in the article. I never remember what I write, but I was at the pool and somebody introduced me and they were like, she has 4 kids and she helps military spouses and she does this and she does that. And I was like, who's she talking about? You know, like, it was like, I was like, I can't believe, like, when someone compliments you and you don't like take it in, you're like, well, wait, no. Like, I'm not really doing a good job with my kids and I only work 15 hours. I don't work 40 hours. And you want to just like quickly backtrack and take the compliment away from the person because of our own, our own feeling of inadequacy. And I feel like at first I didn't want to share with my clients that I also was like going along this vulnerability path with them. But more recently, I've just admitted, I've said, you know what, I felt this way right before we started working together. I was like, gosh, I don't know if you told me you were, wanted to go back to school for nursing. I didn't know if you're going to spend a ton of money in nursing school and then be a nurse. And then, it's not going to work out and you're going to like come back and hate me. So I started admitting that I feel the same feeling with them because I feel like we need to know that it's normal and how to work through it. And what are some like quick and easy tools that we can use to like kind of conquer the feeling of uncertainty and imposter syndrome when it because it's going to flare up. So what do we do when it does?
So walk us through some of those tools. And if you guys miss it or you can't take notes fast enough, they're actually all in the article. And the article is up on our website right now. So go check it out and we will repost it on Facebook. So it'll be easy reference for you.
Well, I think one little, a couple little things that we can do. One is we know that gremlin voice is real. So when it pops up, we can just recognize it. And there's an author, Julia Cameron, that says you can even name it. Like, I think she named her imposter syndrome negative voice like Nigel or something.
And yours is like Debbie, so it's Debbie Downer.
Yeah, we can name it. And then we can say, oh gosh, here it goes. Like here, like today I could laugh about that your background was great and mine wasn't as good. So I feel like you can just kind of laugh, say, oh, here it comes. Here's that voice that is telling you you're not quite enough. Just notice it and say like, hey, I know you're helpful sometimes, but I don't need you right now. Like, go away. And you kind of just feel the fear and do the task anyway that you're afraid of. The other thing is words are really powerful. So when someone says to you, you did, X, Y, like, Sue, you've been in charge of this great military spouse network and you're doing such a great job and you've connected so many military spouses and you made all this change. You might want to downplay it, but you can try to exercise yourself to say, you know what, thank you. It was a lot of hard work. Like, thank you so much. I'm excited that you're getting so much out of it. And it really feels good when you give me a compliment like that, rather than downplaying it. Like, just take it in and say thank you.
I think we believe that if we acknowledge the compliment, that makes us seem arrogant.
Yes, but I think that also we're training other people to be able to say, like, you know what, that was hard work. Thank you. Or, it's about serving. So if someone's complimenting you and it has to do with the fact that you're serving others, then to like diminish that is almost like, it's like not a good thing. And I feel like as we start to notice in other people, like I'll compliment a client genuinely. And if they kind of like aren't taking it in, I'll say like, hey, like what's going on here? Like, I want you to like, let's feel this together. Let's see what's going on. Why are we not able to like acknowledge that compliment? Because sometimes we don't realize that, at least we should be able to, if we don't want to come across as conceited, we can at least reward our efforts.
Yeah.
So rather than looking so much at the outcome, like, oh, like I know a military spouse, I'm thinking about a military spouse from years ago that wrote a book that turned into a TV show. And she was like, oh, well, it was just like the right timing and I got lucky. And I said, no, that wasn't luck. You were a journalist for a really long time. You worked really hard, while you're trying to balance raising a kid and writing a book, which Sue, firsthand is not easy. To just say like, no, it wasn't luck. And I think that a better thing to look at than a better word to use than luck is like having that faith in ourselves. It wasn't lucky, it was faithful.
Yeah, because they say that luck is when opportunity meets preparedness, right? And then I get where you're coming from, and I totally am on board with this, because the more I think about it, opportunities present themselves to people all the time. lots of people, but a lot of people aren't willing to do the hard work, so they don't recognize this as opportunity. They recognize it as they view it as just work. And so if you're the person that recognizes it as an opportunity and makes the sacrifices that are required to have that opportunity bear fruit, then you should take acknowledgement for it.
Yes, absolutely. And by acknowledging it, you're acknowledging your efforts and you're acknowledging the things. And there is those opportunities that come, but you have to take those small, consistent actions to make those opportunities come to fruition. And people downplay those small, consistent actions. Or even if the action is following a hunch, they'll quickly say, again, it was luck, it was luck, it was luck. No, it was you being mindful and taking those imperfect, consistent actions until all of a sudden, it's like you take 2 steps forward and then someone takes a step towards you and you give that 1 step towards you all the credit, rather than those 2 imperfect action steps towards the opportunity that came back to you.
And this is why we love spending time with Krista, because you just bring clarity to the issue. And you're absolutely right. And I think if we could flip that conversation in our minds, then we could live, I don't know, I think we would live healthier professional lives, because I think it's getting over that, that barrier to bigger opportunities. Because if we don't feel like we deserve the small opportunities and we don't feel like we're actually making a difference, then we don't stand a chance at the bigger opportunities and acknowledging the big, because I think you have to have a certain level. I know you have to have a certain level of confidence to be at bigger tables.
Yeah.
And so
and I think especially for women, I mean, there's like that book Lean In, and it's especially true for women. Like, whereas typically men will apply for a job that they're not quite qualified for and say, you know what, I'm going to fake it till I make it. I'm going to wing it. I need to provide for my family. I'm just going to go for it. Whereas I've had spouses that are actually overqualified for a job tell me, you know what, I don't know. They say they want this HR certificate. And I said, but you have a master's in organizational development. Tell them you'll get the certificate later. Like, put on your letter that you're a quick learner and this and that, and you're willing to take the exam. Throw it out there. You have nothing to lose. Whereas we're more hesitant. We're like, well, we don't have 100% of the criteria to apply for this job. And I'll say, look, let's spin some of these transferable skills. Let's just dive in. And then if they have to deal with the imposter syndrome on the other end, because they get the job, they're prepared for it. I was working with a woman, and she was a counselor, a paid intern. I don't want to say guidance counselor, some kind of counselor in a high school. And she was applying for an administrative job in high school, very affluent high school that's a top education. And she was African-American, young female. And she was like, I don't know if I'm quite qualified for this. And she had her doctorate. She didn't have teaching experience. She didn't have certain things. So she's very young. And I said, just apply. They're going to come back and maybe you won't get the job. I didn't even think maybe she was qualified. So I was like living imposter syndrome right there by her side. I was her cheerleader, but I was like, you're going to go to the interview. It's going to be great interview experience. I said, then you're going to have to go teach for a couple of years, and then you're going to come back and apply, and you're going to reach out to them, and you're going to say, hey, like, should I join a leadership cohort? What other kinds of things can I do? Blah, blah, blah. She came into my office. To make a long story short, she's like, I got the job, and now I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm a vice principal in this high school, and I have no idea what I'm doing. And I was like, you have all the energy in the world. You got through your degree. You got through all these other things. We're gonna dive into this together. And like, she actually figured out that you get more confident by doing the thing that you're not confident about. So it's about leaning in. It's about doing it.
And developing that muscle.
When you told me, join me for Instagram Live, I was like, I don't do Instagram Live. So it's like, you have to do it in order to realize that you'll be more confident the next time you do it.
And look at you. You were rocking it. You're rocking it. Like,
so I feel like you got to just dive in, and success becomes a mindset. It's not about, because if you say, I'm going to write one more book, I'm going to do one more thing, I'm going to make over 6 figures, I'm going to do this, and then I'll be confident, and then I'll be successful, and then I won't have the imposter syndrome. But then you see, like Julia Cameron, who makes a lot more money on her books than I do, she still has it. So we know that it's not a number amount. It's not a certain job. It's not when I get this many members at the National Military Spouse Network. Then I'll have made it, and then I'll stop feeling inadequate. And it's like, no, there's no magic number. There's no magic number.
I was just having this conversation.
It's a mindset. It's you wake up tomorrow and you say, I kick butt. I'm Sue, and it's right here. I don't care if I have 1 member or 20,000. It's me. And you realize that success comes from within. And as you feel it more, you actually attract it. So your number, all of a sudden, your magic number of what you think is going to make you feel successful actually happens.
Yeah. So for us, it's all about the impact. So as long as we feel like we're making impact, then I feel like we're being successful. But one of the things that someone taught me, and I, it's so interesting because just like you can learn bad habits, you can also learn good habits. And then those good habits are really difficult to let go of, because once you learn something and practice it, then you never go backwards. So if they don't do anything else, I would encourage them to listen to what you're saying about developing the good habits. And I just want to give an example of one of mine, where every time an opportunity would come to me, I'd be like, why do I get to do this? Like, why do I get to write a book for the Dummy series? Why do I get to do this? And then my friend Phil, who we both love Phil. Everybody loves Phil. Yes. Was like, why not you? Like, why do you spend so much time wondering why you? Instead, flip the dynamic in your mind and ask, why not you? Like, if you can write the book, if you can take that opportunity and run with it, why not you? Of course, there are lots of other people that would love to take your place if you choose not to do it, and they will. But why not you?
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God, it sounds so simple.
No, the simple ones are the best.
But it's so hard.
Instead of saying why me, say why not me.
Right.
And that's, and then again, it's like these little things over time really start to make a difference.
I think if they just change that, and if they change that narrative in their mind, instead of saying, because I see the people who are on this call, and all these women are making huge differences in their community. They started organizations, they're CEOs of new organizations, they're helping military spouses, and they're going to be in opportunities where people offer them opportunities, and they're going to be like, why me? They all need to remember that they should instead be asking, why not you? You stepped out front, you're making these changes, you're making this impact in your community, why not you?
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like then, and as we start to, it's like, as you start to practice that, it gets easier. I'm sure that the first time you said, why not me? It was like a little bit felt weird. But then as you start doing it and doing it and doing it, you train yourself to think, you know what, this isn't luck. This is me working and being faithful in myself, that these opportunities are coming to me for a reason. And I think we start to think as a military spouse, like if I serve this client really well, like you kind of feel like, well, I want to do this really, really, really well. And then I'll do 2, and then I'll do 3, and then I'll do 4. But actually we can serve more people if we serve a broader audience of military spouses. So by you saying having an impact, it's like, you want to have like this impact, but you also want to get it out there to as many people as possible. So for me to stay small and to say, no, I can only work with my one-on-one clients. I'm not going to go on Instagram Live and connect with a broader audience of spouses. I'm not going to try to write a book. I'm not going to try to do these things that end up serving. It's like mean to not serve the broadest community that you can with your values and your talents and your expertise and your knowledge. So if you start to think of it like, it's not about you, it's about, if I say, why not me, I'm actually helping more people.
Yeah. And I mean, I still say it though, like I still have but the good thing is the lag time between the thought of why me to the why not me is shorter. So I think that's the only thing that's changed so I started doing this 10 years ago, and in 10 years, all I can report is the lag time is shorter and I say yes more often. So I don't even think about saying no anymore, unless it's something that's really going to be harmful to my career or my family, or something that's really going to take me away from my main mission, then I won't do it. So you have to develop like filters for yourself. Like there have to be right and left barriers.
Yeah, you can't follow every shiny object. And I said no to things. I had someone reach out to me and say that they wanted to promote their university on my website, and it wasn't a good fit. Like it wasn't an accredited university. So that's not in my lane. That's not going to serve a broader amount of military spouses. So I just assumed that dollar amount is going to come from somewhere else that is in my lane. And almost like if you say no to the right things, and you kind of like, you get clarity on what you want, which is what I tell spouses that are like coming to me to figure out what career to go into. I said, let's list all the careers you hate, you know, because they think they know nothing, but we know a lot of what we don't want. And when you start blocking out what you don't want, you make room in the universe for like the things that you do want, and they come quicker and more easily. So I think it's good to not say yes to everything.
Yeah. I remember you telling us that when you work with clients and they don't know what their interests are, you tell them to go to their bookcase and take a look. And all these books, Krista, are cookbooks. Yeah, it's like 300 cookbooks on my bookshelf. Right. So, you know, I have this like cooking blog that I need to launch. And, you know, everyone was like, you need to do it immediately, because like, I don't know, I shouldn't share this secret because then everybody will email me. But like when people are coming into the DC area, I get emails from my friends, like who are coming from abroad, and they're like, we're looking for an anniversary restaurant. Where should we go? And I'll ask them about the atmosphere they're looking for, the experience they're looking for, the dollar amount. And I will find the exact right restaurant for them and tell them why. And it's so much fun. And I'm like, oh my gosh, but I need another hobby, right?
No, but it's like you might just meditate on how to bring that into your lane, because I'm sure that there's, you know, like that concierge / cooking skill. You know, you can like just bring it into your existence. So it's like I feel like you should always follow your bliss. Like, so a little fun fact about me is that I've been writing for 17 years, nonfiction stuff for military spouses, and during COVID, I found I wasn't running around as much with 4 kids doing sports. So I connected with a girlfriend and we wrote a fiction book for fun. Nice. So I feel like it's like you were already, it's not way out of my lane, because I was already writing, and I was taking classes on Gotham, you know, online writing classes and things like that. So, and I love writing and I love collaborating. And so it was just something fun to do. So I feel like if something's fun, like you can always find time for it. Like if you said, I have to sit down and write a cooking blog, or I have to do this, or I have to do that, a have to or a should is like something that I'll say, just take it off your to-do list, unless you're getting, you know, unless it's part of your paid job from 9 to 5, scratch it off your list. But if you're just drawn to doing something fun in the weekend, and that turns into like, you know, a side multiple stream of income, fun. You know, go for it.
So like right now, the way it manifests is, you know, we have a dispersed workforce at NMSN. So we work with 9 people regularly, but, and then we have all of our experts and everybody else. But like, if you come over to our house, you won't leave without a full meal for your family. That's just a rule I have for my team, because I feel like if you're coming to our house to do something, so like we have somebody, who's going to come over with her mask, and we're going to put together all these boxes. I'm like, you'll leave with a meal for your family, because I know that
been like that. That is like part of your, and sometimes this is a good example of the imposter syndrome. Sometimes you don't see that as unique. So I'll introduce you and I'll say, Sue hosts a great party. I mean, I remember I was up in a hotel suite with DC cupcakes, eating them, having fun. And I was like, she knows how to throw a party. You have to pay attention to those compliments and jot them down. I know it sounds silly, but jot down, she knows how to throw a party. And you'll think that everybody else can throw a party also.
Exactly.
Or you'll downplay. You'll say, but that's not a real thing. And I'll say, no, this is a real thing. And I just told a client this yesterday. I said, you know how to decorate. You know how to decorate on a dime. I don't know how we're going to tweak it into her business. That's, you know, to be seen, Lisa decorating. But I mean, she doesn't know. She's like, well, everybody can like go to Home Goods and pick out 6 things and make it look like it's from the cover of a magazine. And I was like, no, I can't. And no other client here today can. You can. So like now we want to turn that into her business. But the point is that what we can do is the takeaway from this is pay attention to compliments. It helps you tame that imposter syndrome. It helps you know this is something that's unique about me. And when you jot down, you'll probably hear 5 times this month, you know, food, you know, partying, you know how to have a good time, you know how to connect people. And that is all part of what makes you special and unique, and can actually amplify your business by bringing it into the fold.
So let's talk about that again. Like, give them that feedback again, because this is a takeaway that you should do. So take notes.
Takeaway is literally to jot down compliments that you start hearing. You don't know what to do with your career. You don't know what to do next, or you don't know, maybe you're getting a little bit bored of like the mundane. You know, I was seeing one-on-one clients every week, and I was like, you know what? I want to get outside of my office. I want to connect with other people. I want to serve the broader audience of military spouses. Then someone came to me and said, hey, I have this idea to write. Let's write a book. And I love the idea of meeting someone in a coffee shop and talking about what are the next 3 chapters going to be, and then going home to my, you know, introverted in between kids sports, banging out a chapter. So it's like, you want to just pay attention to compliments. People, a friend of mine said, I read your article and it sounded like how you talk, which I said, well, doesn't every article sound like the person, how they talk? And they said, no, like when I'm reading an article, I feel like it's you talking. And so they said, you could probably write fiction because it's people talking. And I was like, are you sure? Yeah. I don't know. So
watch,
like,
we're going to see a manuscript.
Have fun with it. You have fun with it. And it's like, if you enjoy doing it, then again, it's about the paying attention to the compliments and then thinking about following your bliss, doing what you naturally like to do and paying attention to that. What you usually like to do and are good at is unique to you.
And I think that's something that military spouses and women overall underscore, is that if we're able to do something well, we just assume that we're normal and that everybody can do that well. And my husband and I talk about this all the time, because I don't necessarily love politics, but he's like, you have a political mind. Like, you can't help yourself. It's just the way you think. And I'm like, oh, it's because I'm, you know, like, this is my hometown and this is the way everybody thinks. He's like, no, no, it's not.
There's a lot of people that don't.
Yeah. And so, like, what is it that is your unique value proposition? And I think the way you find that is exactly what Chris is saying, is if you write down all the compliments and all the comments that people say for like a month and see where the repetition occurs, I think you'll figure it out. And I'm a huge, huge proponent of self-awareness and the importance of self-awareness.
Yeah, because shoot a text to 5 friends and say, I know this is a weird question, but I'm doing a little bit of self-discovery work. Like, what do you think are some of my, you know, strong talents and attributes? And you'll be so surprised that people will write back, you know, 2 or 3 people will write the same word, like you're very organized or you're very, you know, whatever it is. So it's like, people told me I was funny. I was like, I'm not funny. And
you are funny.
Like, but I had a lot of people in my like little quiz about myself tell me that I was funny. And so then all of a sudden you start being like, okay, I have permission to bring humor into my work. Like, I can sit and like laugh with a client now. And like, I can say, oh, we all feel that way. And like, we both start laughing. So I feel like being able to laugh at ourselves is something that maybe I always did, but now I know that I do it. So you can kind of like bring it in more. On my website, The Military Spouse Coach, I have, I think, in the client section, and anyone listening to this Instagram Live is welcome to dive into there. I think there's a worksheet on values, like how you could just print it out and you could circle what are your top values, and you start living by those values, and it becomes easier to feel like I'm not an imposter. I'm just living out my values. I'm doing, like you said it so well. You said, I'm doing the network as a way to create impact for military spouses. So I'm sure that aligns with your core values. And when we look at our values, these skills that our friends have told us we're good at, and these compliments and our interests, and we combine the 3, it makes a recipe for a really fulfilling career.
I could do this all day, because you're one of my favorite people to talk to, because in case people don't know, Krista has a doctorate, and, you know, she's been doing this work for a long time, but she's also one of the most approachable, friendly, loving people I know, because like, she's going to affect change in your life, but she's going to do it very lovingly. And so it's not like she's going to draw you screaming. It's going to be, she's going to guide you through making the revelations, which I love. And thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you for having me. It's
this
so
is
much
a huge
fun
gift
to
for our
connect,
community.
and I love your network. I love all the things that you're doing. It's absolutely wonderful. Anybody that's part of the network that wants to reach out, I would love to, you know, just have us be connected. You can connect with me at militaryspousecoach.com/freebie. And I would love to stay connected to anybody that's out there.
And let's have you back and talk about our mantras about living in our life instead of on our life, right?
Yes.
Yay. Thank you so much, Krista. Thanks for spending part of your day with us.
Thank you.
You guys come back next Wednesday. Bye, guys.